He woke up among warrior women who danced above his body. Wounded, chosen, Kael woke to firelight and drums. Pain spiked through his chest as he inhaled. His eyes fluttered open, catching flashes of flame, shadow, and movement. Above him, silhouetted against the dusk sky, women circled, dancing, not with softness, but with strength. Bronze bangles clashed like shields on their arms. Their eyes were painted like predators. Their skin bore scars of battles long past. Their steps were sharp, deliberate, almost ritualistic. They stomped and spun and chanted in tongues Kael didn't understand. He tried to sit up, a firm hand pressed him back. She breathes. You listen. The voice came from a tall figure leaning over him. Her eyes glinted like iron under starlight. Her hair was bound in braids thick as rope, and her arms were marked with spiraling tattoos. You're safe outsider, she said. For now. He tried to speak, but his throat was sand. Someone brought water, sweet and spiced with crushed herbs. He drank, the pain dulled enough for memory to return. He'd been escorting a merchant caravan through the spine sands when the bandits struck. Ambush, fire, screams, arrows in the dark. He'd fought until he couldn't. Then nothing. And now this. Where am I? He croaked. The tall woman didn't answer. Instead, she pointed toward the fire. There, standing taller than any of the others, was a woman clad in armor made of bone and hide. Her eyes were covered by a veil of golden threads, but she moved as if she saw through it. The matron, the tall woman whispered. She called you back. Back! Kael frowned. From where? The woman smiled, but it wasn't kindness. It was reverence. From death. The matron stepped forward. The dancers stilled. Even the flames seemed to hush. She knelt beside Kael, placing a hand on his chest. Her fingers were warm and humming with energy, not magic, not quite, but something older. You bled upon sacred ground, she said. Her voice was soft, but it thrummed like thunder. The earth took your offering. The sky watched. I didn't choose to bleed, Kael replied. But the ground chose you, she said. The dead do not sleep here. They rise. Kael was taken to a stone hut at the edge of the canyon village. The warrior women, over 100 of them, from youths to elders, watched him with wary curiosity. Some wore war paint. Others bore weapons of bone, obsidian, and twisted steel. All of them carried themselves like wolves, graceful, dangerous, unafraid. As he healed, they told him stories of the Vireya, the sisterhood of ash and flame. They were guardians of forgotten paths, healers and killers, protectors of the world's broken edges. They had no kings, no gods, only the matron chosen by omen and fire. And once in a generation, the ground chose a man, not as a warrior, as a harbinger. You think we saved you, said Rasha, the tall warrior who'd first spoken to him. We didn't. Kael blinked. Then who did? The ground, the spirits, yourself. Rasha pointed to the scar, now carved across Kael's ribs. That's not a wound anymore, she said. That's a mark. What does it mean? That we can't ignore you. Each night they danced. Kael watched from the circle's edge, breath shallow, heart full. Their movements weren't just celebration. They were stories. Of victories, of loss, of sisters who never returned. The stamping of feet echoed the drums of war. The turning of wrists spoke of oaths and exiles. He was not one of them. And yet he was not either. He began to feel the rhythm in his bones. He began to dream. In his dreams, he stood on red sand surrounded by flame. Above him loomed a figure in golden threaded veils. Her voice poured through the fire. You will not raise a sword for glory, but for memory. He saw cities in ruin, children with silver eyes, creatures with skin like smoke. The world cracked open, and the Verea stood at the breach. He was among them, wounded, yes, but standing. One morning, Rasha tossed him a spear. It was lighter than expected, its shaft carved with spirals, the tip a shard of dark crystal. You walk among us. You eat our food, but you haven't bled since the day we found you, she said. Today that changes. She led him to a pit lined with sand and woven thorns. Two Vireya sisters waited inside, each one wiry, fast, deadly. Kael stepped in unsure. Then he moved. He didn't fight to win, he fought to learn. Each cut they gave him, he remembered. Each fall taught him where his balance faltered. The Verea didn't go easy. They broke him a dozen ways. But he got up each time. By dusk, he stood soaked in sweat and dirt and pride. The matron watched from the cliff's edge. She nodded once. Kael began to train daily. He learned their ways, how to track a man through wind-swept dunes, how to speak with hawk, how to stitch a wound with fire roots. He danced with them, not for performance, but for power. Not once did they ask for allegiance. Not once did they ask for obedience. They only demanded he earn his place. And slowly he did. One night, the sky turned red. Scouts returned with news. A war band from the north, burning through everything in their path. Slavers, priests, mercenaries. Hundreds of them. They would pass near the sacred canyons in 3 days. The matron gathered the circle. Kael stood outside it until she spoke. You were chosen by blood, she said. Will you answer? Kael met her gaze. Yes. Rasha tossed him a helm, wrought from leather and bone, carved with spirals of fire. You're not Vireya, she said. Not yet, but tonight you fight as one. They met the invaders at the canyon's edge. 50 warrior women, one scarred man. The Vireya struck like shadows, like flame, silent and blinding. Kael fought beside them, the rhythm of their war dance flowing through him. Every strike was guided, every dodge instinctive. He bled again, but this time not alone. When dawn rose, the sand was red. The enemy was broken, and Kael still stood. The Verea built no monuments. They carved no names into stone. But that night, around the fire, they danced. And this time, Kael danced with them. Not behind, not outside, among.